Everyone, and welcome to The Balancing Act. I'm Olga Villaverdi.
And I'm Untitled Williams.
We've got a full show today, from health all the way to nutrition.
And we got you covered on legal advice.
We've got them covered all the time, right?
Correct.
And it all starts
right now.
Listen to some of these statistics. 58% of women don't feel as if their physician takes their health concerns seriously all of the time. And 46% of women, Montel, have switched physicians because they feel they're just not heard.
That's crazy. Plus, 75% of patients said that they would feel much more satisfied if their physicians performed lab tests and discussed the results while they were in the office.
That's a good idea. I like that. Well, today we're on location in Minneapolis, Minnesota, to see how one physician is working to change these numbers one point of care test at a time. Today, OBGYN Dr. Juan Angeles is meeting with his patient, Ashley Marzella.
I have seen Dr. Angeles for the last 12 years, and he has delivered all 3 of my children. Since I'm a mom of 3, I understand how important it is to take care of yourself while being pregnant, and prenatal care is a huge factor in that during pregnancy and at your delivery.
During the course of her pregnancies, Dr. Angeles tested Ashley for gestational diabetes at about 28 weeks, an important part of the standard of care.
Gestational diabetes is when a woman does not control her glucose level properly. And if her glucose levels are very high, this can in turn affect the development and growth of the baby.
Testing for anemia, typically defined as low hemoglobin and associated with iron deficiency in both pregnant and non-pregnant women, is also crucial.
Anemia is kind of a measure of a person's blood volume. If they have a low hemoglobin, then they can have symptoms of, typically one is fatigue, decreased energy, sometimes somebody looks more pale. But it's important for somebody's well-being because certainly we all want to feel as good as we can on a day in and day out basis. So if somebody's profoundly anemic, it can really affect them both physically and mentally. Diagnosing gestational diabetes and anemia in pregnancy is extremely important for our patients because having one or both of these conditions can potentially negatively impact the pregnancy, and we would like to know about it, address it, help the patient as much as we can to have the most healthy pregnancy and outcome as possible.
That's why he makes sure, whenever possible, to use point-of-care diagnostics within his practice.
Point-of-care testing does provide our patients with immediate results. They do not have to wait for the results to return. Sometimes that can cause undue anxiety as they're awaiting a result, which could potentially impact them, whether they're pregnant or not. And we can sit down with the patient, talk to them about the results, make a plan moving forward if deemed necessary, answer any questions that may come up, and just make sure that everybody's on the same page. Within our office, we provide point-of-care testing via the HemaQ device. It's a simple finger stick for the patient and for either obtaining their glucose or hemoglobin, and the results return within minutes.
And that's significant because external labs typically take 1 to 2 days for results, whereas HemaQ's point-of-care testing gives immediate lab quality results for issues related to conditions such as anemia and diabetes. It's considered lab quality when compared to an outside laboratory and may save you from additional out-of-pocket expenses.
Being a busy mom, coming into the office for one appointment, less appointments is better, and knowing that I get those results right away in office is beneficial because it helps with my anxiety, just knowing that I don't have to wait for those results in case something may not be right, and I'm able to speak with the doctor right then and there, and we can come up with a plan if so. And it's also wonderful to know if things are good, then you have that peace of mind.
Remember to ask your doctor about point-of-care testing and always seek more immediate information about your health. The technology, by the way, is available and easy to access.
And of course, for more information, you can always visit HemaQ.us or go to our website, thebalancingact.com. We'll be back right after this. Well, you know, optimal health begins in the gut. In fact, poor gut health can have the most consequences literally from head to toe.
Absolutely. I mean, let's just list some of them, right? Poor immune health, skin issues, joint problems, mood disturbances, energy imbalances, weight issues, and of course, digestion problems.
Like I said, head to toe. You know what I mean? But there's something we can do about it.
That's right. And here with more is Tim Skiot, Vice President of Research and Development at BioTrust Nutrition. Welcome.
Thanks so much for having me, guys.
Thanks for being here.
Yes, ma'am.
So I was reading here that you are a precision nutrition coach and a certified strength and conditioning specialist. So you're really passionate about health and making people have a better life, right?
Right.
It's really here, right? Doesn't it start here?
Got to start with the gut check. You nailed it, Olga. And you know, over 2,000 years ago, Hippocrates said all disease begins in the gut, and the father of modern medicine, he was right on cue. We now have this huge body of evidence that shows us that all the health magic or challenges begin in the gut. And there's over 100 trillion microbes that live in our gut, make up this gut microbiome.
Can you imagine?
And by a point of comparison,
100 trillion.
100 trillion, Montel, and check this out, that there's roughly 37 trillion cells in the human body. So these guys outnumber us by a factor of 3, and their genes outnumber us by a factor of 100.
So we got to keep it in check.
We got to keep it in check, and it really starts with that gut microbiome.
Mm-hmm.
So now, you know, behavioral modification and eating proper diet, that's not enough by itself, right?
Well, we're facing an uphill battle. But the good news is that we can control things. We're in the driver's seat. There's a lot of things we can control, but there's a lot of threats out there to this microbiome that we have. Food, for instance. Well, let me take a step back. That research has looked into this, and genetics only account for about 2 to 10% of the variation in the gut microbiome. Food that we eat can be anywhere from 20 to 57%. So we need to make sure that we're eating our fruits and vegetables, which are rich in phytonutrients and fibers that help feed these good guys. But we also have to watch out for the threats, the things that can threaten our gut microbiome, lead to this dysbiosis, this imbalance. That would be smoking, alcohol, environmental toxins like pesticides, even traveling, over-the-counter medications, and antibiotics would be some things that we want to be careful with.
Now, we hear a lot about probiotics, right? I mean, that's like a big word. Everybody knows about probiotics, but I was reading here that we should incorporate pre- and post-biotic into our routine. Tell me about that.
Yes, for sure, Olga. And probiotics are great. They're very helpful. Those are kind of the good guys that make up our gut microbiome, and they can help establish that healthy balance and maybe even have some positive immune system functions as well. But prebiotics is the food that our probiotics feed on. So they're extremely important to maintain that healthy balance and help those good guys thrive. The postbiotics are essentially these byproducts that the probiotics make in the body as a result of feeding on these prebiotics. And these postbiotics, in particular something called butyrate, fuels the immune system. It helps lower inflammation in the intestines. It helps seal the gut lining. It helps with brain and cravings, all kinds of things. And the problem is most people are deficient in that butyrate because they don't have this healthy balance of butyrate-producing bacteria. They don't consume enough fruits and vegetables to feed those guys.
And you brought some examples with you, right?
Yes, sir. So I brought ProX10, which is our probiotic, and not just your typical probiotic. There's 6 strains of probiotics in there, but also has a prebiotic in there. This prebiotic is really cool because it not only feeds the good guys, it also selectively targets the bad guys. It's kind of like a sniper for those bad bacteria. And then another one that's really, really important is something called Ageless Biome. And Ageless Biome has that postbiotic ingredient that many people are deficient in, and it combines it with a prebiotic that increases the body's production of butyrate naturally. So it's a double-edged sword for increasing this postbiotic. It's got the shortcut, giving it to yourself, and then also the fuel for your body to create it itself. And then I also brought something called Gut Reg, which Gut Reg is going to help fortify the gut's defense system. So naturally helping to improve the ecosystem in your body as well as fortify the gut lining. And then a digestive enzyme is also a key piece of the digestive health puzzle. That's AbsorbMax.
So what is it, like 2 times a day?
So the probiotic would be 2 times a day, and the Ageless Biome is going to be once a day. The Gut Reg would be once or twice a day, depending on how much support you need. And the enzymes would be just with every meal. That's something.
And if people want to get more information, where would they go?
Great question, Montel. We'll be at biotrust.com. Super easy to order. You can find your products there. We have a 60-day money-back guarantee. And another thing you can feel good about when you order from BioTrust is that for every order placed, we're going to feed a hungry child through No Kid Hungry.
Oh my gosh, I love that. That's the best way to end this.
That's great.
They're helping us and they're helping someone else as well.
Thanks so much for being part of the show.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Coach.
Appreciate it.
And if you'd like more information, you go to our website, thebalancingAct.com.
And we'll be back right after this.
Breast cancer is the most common cancer in women except for skin cancer. Now, currently, the average risk of a woman in the United States developing breast cancer sometime in her life is about 13%. This means there's a 1 in 8 chance she will develop the disease. Now, over the years, there have been many advancements that help detect breast cancer early and ultimately save lives. Well, this morning, we're discussing yet another breakthrough technology that increases the efficiency and accuracy of mammography screening. Joining me is Dr. Brandon Su, board-certified physician in family medicine and CEO of Lunit. Welcome, doctor.
Hello, thank you for having me. It's a great pleasure.
And it's a pleasure to have you. Doctor, before we discuss more about this, I just want to go through a few more statistics for our viewers. Listen to this. According to the American Cancer Society, more than 281,000 new cases of invasive breast cancer will be diagnosed in women. About 49,290 new cases of ductal carcinoma will be diagnosed, and about 43,600 women will die from breast cancer. I mean, the numbers are still alarming, aren't they?
Yes, definitely. It's definitely a major disease. The surprising thing is, even if you get your mammograms checked regularly, around 30% of breast cancer is missed. So there's definitely a lot of improvement that needs to be made.
And let me share something with you about missing something. I, for example, and I know a lot of women can relate, have extremely dense breasts. So I get my yearly mammogram and my ultrasound. Is that enough, or is there something more that we can look forward to?
Yes, as I told you, it's not ideal, the current standard of care. So there's definitely a lot of room for improvement. Especially it's so with dense breast, which is very common, like one third to 1/2 in the women in the U.S. have dense breast. And the problem is it's so difficult, it gets even more difficult to read the mammograms properly with dense breast. For example, the overall accuracy level of mammography is over 90%, but it gets as low as 70% in dense breast. Using state-of-the-art technologies like artificial intelligence can definitely help. And for instance, we at Lunit, we developed an AI-based algorithm that can significantly improve the accuracy level of radiologists when reading mammograms. And we validated it to increase the accuracy by 20% of the radiologist by the AI. And it has been validated in over 20 studies, published in major journals like JAMA Oncology and Lancet Distal Health.
So that's fascinating, doctor. So if, let's say someone like me or someone else that has dense breasts and something is missed, this software can maybe see something that a radiologist can't spot. Tell me how it works. And I just want to clarify, this does not replace mammography or ultrasounds. This is just kind of like an extra tool?
Yes, it's basically a tool that are given to radiologists so that they can use as an assistant tool. So basically, the AI analyzes the mammogram images and detects breast cancer and presents the analysis results by marking the area that is suspicious of cancer so that the radiologist can refer to it and help them out in terms of the decision. So AI is very similar to how our brain works. So just like humans, the AI learns from practice and experience. And our AI has been trained on over 250,000 cases of mammograms. And that's like 120 years of radiologist experience. So a radiologist, if he or she has like 20 years of experience, he or she is said to be an expert. So the AI, that's like 6 times of that. So naturally, it has more experience, leading to a very high accuracy level. And according to our studies, our AI has shown that 40% of breast cancer patients can be diagnosed earlier. So when we looked at the prior images of breast cancer patients taken 2 or 3 years before, so they were actually judged to be normal back then. But in those prior images, the AI actually picked up the breast cancer that was kind of invisible to the human eye.
Wow.
So if those patients would have used AI, she would have been diagnosed with breast cancer like 2 or 3 years earlier, which could have been the difference between a cure and no cure.
Oh my goodness, doctor, that is fascinating. Such a helpful tool. How would I ask my doctor for this?
So our products are FDA approved and actively being commercialized in the US. We have over 500 medical sites, customers throughout the world in over 38 countries. So it's still early, but your doctors are definitely aware of this technology, so they can help you find sites that have either our products or other products like ours. So talk to your doctor and be proactive, and sooner or later you'll be able to find a site and have your mammograms analyzed by AI.
Great information, doctor. So glad we're creating this awareness. For our viewers who'd like to know more, where can they go? Is there a website?
Yes, we do have a website in lunit.io where you can find more information regarding our company and our AI product. So please feel free to visit our site.
Thank you, doctor. So appreciate your time and the information you just provided to us.
Thank you.
We need to save more lives. And if you'd like more information about this, you can go to our website, thebalancingact.com. We'll be right back.
You know, when it comes to the legal process, we can oftentimes be a little intimidated and, quite frankly, a little scared. But there's assistance out there for you. Today, we have Laura Temmey, senior legal writer for FindLaw.com, the oldest legal information website that exists. And she's here today to help us find the appropriate professional for all of our legal needs. Welcome, and thank you so much for being a part of the show today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. Look, I know this may sound a little basic, but let's start at the beginning. How do you know when you need a lawyer?
You can start with a little bit of research and figure out what sort of legal issue you're facing. Like, have you been injured at work or in a car accident? Are you thinking about getting divorced or opening a business? And there are some legal issues that are pretty straightforward that you can maybe handle on your own using do-it-yourself resources. But once you start getting minor children involved or complex assets, that's when you really need to have somebody on your side who can help. And that's what FindLaw and Super Lawyers are here to do. FindLaw offers free, easy-to-read information about all sorts of different legal topics, and both have nationwide directories of attorneys who can help.
Super Lawyer! This is a great name,
the best
right?
name. They do.
Absolutely. Well, now, what should our viewers do when they're looking to hire an attorney?
It's important to do your research and ask a lot of questions. Most attorneys will offer an initial consultation, usually for free, where you can get an idea of how they would handle your case and what you might do going forward. And it's important to make sure that you understand the whole process, and if anything doesn't make sense, ask more questions. It's part of their job to make sure it makes sense. And most importantly, ask how they handle their fees.
God, well, fees. Let's talk about fees a little bit, because they tend to be expensive. People don't know you got hourly rates, this kind of rate. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, and in a consultation, you should absolutely ask about how they handle their fees up front. Usually, depending on the type of case, it'll be one of three ways. You might have an hourly rate or a billable hour. They might do a flat fee for specific services like a power of attorney or a will. And then you have contingency fees, which is pretty common in personal injury cases. And that means that the attorney only gets paid if you win your case. So if they negotiate a settlement for you or win a judgment in court, they take a percentage of that. And it's important to make sure to ask about how they handle sort of additional fees like administrative costs or court fees.
Well, that's the goal of what your company is to really help clients find the best representation they deserve and they need, right?
Hiring an attorney is a very personal decision, and it can be an intimidating process, but it doesn't have to be. Usually you can find the basics of what you need on FindLaw.com in our legal articles, as well as our nationwide directory. Plus, Super Lawyers has done some of the background research for you when it comes to hiring a really, really good attorney. They have a peer recommendation process that can identify attorneys who are especially good at what they do.
I love that name still. Super Lawyer!
It's pretty great.
Thanks so much for being a part of the show today. Honestly, you've given us some really good information. If our viewers wanted to find out more, where do they go? What website?
It's FindLaw.com and SuperLawyers.com.
SuperLawyers.com. Super Lawyers! I don't know why I keep saying that. Thanks so much for being here. And look, of course, if you want more information, you can always go to our website, thebalancingact.com. We'll take a break. We'll be back right after this. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Remember to head to our Facebook page, like us on Instagram. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter, and visit thebalancingact.com to enter our latest sweepstake or giveaway.
That's right. Make sure you stay safe, love that family of yours, and we'll see you next time.